Welcome back to our YouTube channel on where we discuss how to deal with dementia. I'm Morgan. Maybe during that last family gathering, your parents and grandparents started to act a little odd. Perhaps there were moments that they were forgetful or stopped talking mid-sentence or had a difficult time finding the right word. Today, we're going to discuss some of the early signs of dementia and not just signs of getting older. The National Health Service in the UK notes a typical list of early signs of dementia, including, but not limited to, memory loss, difficulty concentrating, finding it hard to carry daily tasks, getting confused over the correct change while shopping, struggling to follow a conversation or finding the right word, being confused about what time it is and where they are, mood changes. So how can you tell the difference between just aging and early dementia? With my grandma Ruthie, a lot of these signs were constantly happening. We found ourselves making excuses for her, Ruthie being Ruthie, because she was flaky. But in hindsight, she was not acting like her usual self. Remember, we are not medical doctors, but we do have firsthand experience with my grandma who did have dementia. So let's get into a general list one by one. First up is memory loss. The odd thing with dementia is that the recent memory tends to fade away, but not long-term memory. When looking for the signs, look closely about what your loved one is forgetting. Another case is when they're having a hard time remembering the restaurant that they just went to. Another is forgetting a dear friend's name, particularly forgetting a friend's name. This is something that they care about. So if you notice they're not remembering that friend's name, this may be a sign. Number 2, difficulty concentrating. My grandma Ruthie would talk your ear off about operas, Broadway, the food on her vacations, family, and some news story that piqued her interest that day, and back around again. In the later years, we noticed she took a step back and she seemed bored with what we had to say. And she started looking around the room and she was completely disinterested. Remember, this is totally based on your loved one's personality and habits. So if your loved one used to be a talker and a good listener and all of a sudden isn't, this may be a sign. Third, finding it hard to carry out daily tasks. It is easy to make excuses for behaviors that in hindsight revealed things weren't right. For example, my grandma forgot how to use a toaster oven. We just shrugged it off that it was a new toaster in a new house. But that was not the case. Also, if you find yourself or others doing a lot for your loved one, question whether you are helping them just because or because they actually need you to. For example, are you cooking all the meals for them when they normally love to cook? Are you just treating them like royalty or because they actually don't have the ability to cook anymore? Asking yourself these healthy questions will help you decipher the early signs. 4, are they struggling to follow a conversation or finding the right word? My grandmother's dementia was one of the rarer forms where she lost her ability to speak. In the early days, while she was not able to find the right word and would stammer over it, as things got worse, it seems as if she became so exhausted with trying to find the right word that she just decided not to speak at all. Throughout and until the very end, my mom believed she understood what we were saying, but she did question the caretakers on this. What my grandmother actually understood, we will never know. 5, being confused about time and place. This is a sign that clearly makes us think that something is wrong. In my grandmother's case, she would wander off from the airport when her companion was still at the carousel. And then she also was found one time half naked cruising around the cruise ship. This and other behaviors showed that she no longer understood where she was and it became more common. 6, mood changes. Our family now believes that this was one of the earliest signs. There were times that she wanted to leave an opera after looking so forward to it. And she decided she hated a restaurant and wanted to leave immediately. This is called impetus behavior. My grandmother was very frugal, but then she started to want to shop all the time and would want to buy 5 dresses at once, regardless of whether they fit or were even her size. There are clearly other signs such as personality changes, compulsive behaviors, and impaired judgment. My grandmother was charming, educated, yet sometimes judgmental, strict, sassy, but always confident and wise. She was a tough love type of person, but you would never consider her sweet or docile. When everyone started saying that my grandmother was sweet, we knew that there was a real problem because that is just not how you would describe her. She became very agreeable and no longer had her own opinions. Then there was the compulsive behavior, such as compulsively cleaning and going on the back deck and constantly sweeping over and over again. Lastly, impaired judgment with dementia. A person doesn't just wake up one day unable to make decisions. Rather, decision-making slowly diminishes, and it is not across the board. There may be a bad day or a part of a day, but then they are perfectly clear for the next days and weeks. Unfortunately, with the elderly, there are legal ramifications to what people do, and many things are difficult to undo legally. In law, it comes down to whether a person has legal capacity, and this term is different for different things in different states. For example, in New Jersey, the legal capacity to write a will is called testamentary capacity. People with dementia have all legal rights until it is determined, often by a court, that they don't. In the first instance, this means if your loved one is showing early signs but still can make decisions, then there is still time for them to execute wills, trusts, power of attorneys, and other important documents. Then there is no fine line regarding impairment. Yet if you believe the time has passed and these important documents do not exist, then it is clearly time to go to court and have a court do things such as appointing a guardian to protect your loved one. In general, you must be a real watchdog of your loved one's capacity to make decisions. There are other signs to look out for, but just remember, you can only see them if you want to. If you feel in your gut that certain behaviors are odd, they most likely are. I thank you for taking the time to sit down and learn and educate yourself on the early signs of dementia. If you like this video and want to see more, hit the like button, the notification bell, and hit subscribe. Remember, we're not in this alone. Until next time.